Ukraine today is joined by the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Western NIS Enterprise Fund, Mrs. Jaroslawa Johnson. Mrs. Johnson, thank you for joining us. Could you start by giving us an overview of your fund's activities in Ukraine over the past 2 decades?
Thank you very much for inviting me to come today. I'd be glad to. The fund was established in 1994 as one of 10 funds created by the American government with the intention of investing in small and medium enterprises in former communist countries and the countries of the former Soviet Union. The whole principle and rationale for the fund was that these countries didn't have any private business prior to the fall of the communist governments, and they needed help in developing these businesses. And each of these funds was dedicated to a particular country or group of countries. Our fund was dedicated to invest in Ukraine, Moldova, and Belarus. Belarus did not permit us to come into the country, so we focused on Ukraine and Moldova. Our initial funding was $150 million, and we, over a period of 10, 12 years, we invested a total of $168 million in 118 private, small and medium business enterprises. These enterprises hired 25,000 people and provided enough jobs to secure families and provide income. And we also trained over 1,000 people in various principles of economics, of business, in order for them to function appropriately.
Now, it goes without saying the last 18 months have been a particularly challenging time for Ukraine. How has the situation in the country altered the activities of your fund?
Well, in about 2007, we started to sell the assets. We had invested in all these companies. We started to sell the assets, and we were accumulating capital. And the management of the remaining companies was in the hands of Horizon Capital, which is a spin-off fund from the Western NIS Fund. And as a result, we have now amassed capital, and we are proceeding to the next phase of the fund's activity, which is the legacy phase. The original development of the funds anticipated that after a certain period of active investment, the funds would use proceeds to invest in good works in the respective countries. So starting this year, this January, we embarked on the legacy phase of the fund. And now we're using $30 million of the money that we earned from selling the different businesses towards 4 programs.
Okay. Could you tell us a little more about the 4 programs?
Yes, the 4 programs are oriented in the 2 principal areas that we've always thought were very important: education and small and medium business development. And with regard to education, we have a program now called Economic Leadership. We believe that Ukraine and Moldova need competent professional cadres of people who can lead the country in the future. And in this regard, we are doing several things. We're providing scholarships to Ukrainian and Moldovan students, this is postgraduate, to study in MBA programs in the United States. And in a few days, we will be announcing the current scholarship recipients for this coming fall in Ukraine. These are 2-year programs, and we cover the entire tuition of the students' tuition for these 2 years. We also have another program where we believe that it's important for young entrepreneurs to have exchanges with other entrepreneurs in the world. And so coming on June 1, we're sending a delegation of 15 Ukrainian and Moldovans to San Francisco to participate in the Thiel Foundation Young Entrepreneurs Summit. These are students that we've picked from Ukrainian schools who are leaders in physics and mathematics, in computer sciences, in a variety of technical and medical enterprises, and they have new projects, and we're sending them to meet with their peers in San Francisco, and also to go to Silicon Valley, which is just south of San Francisco, and meet with Ukrainian entrepreneurs who are currently working there. We also, in this educational phase of our activity, we also are looking at helping the various ministries with training their personnel. The Minister of the Economy told us that he has many state-owned enterprises where the directors and CEOs need training in corporate governance. So we will be sponsoring a series of seminars to train these people in appropriate corporate governance procedures. And finally, a program that's still in the beginning phases is we'd like to start a leadership academy, an academy for post-high school students who will learn about what it takes to be a leader in the new Ukraine and the new Moldova.
Fantastic. Now, in terms of international investment, if we look at the last 6 months in Ukraine, how have you seen things change with non-government organisations coming into Ukraine?
There are a lot of non-governmental organizations that are currently operating in Ukraine. We've not seen any new ones, but there are many Ukrainian groups that are now focusing on the needs of the Ukrainian people. And in the past few months, we've met with Krim SOS, Vostok SOS, all the Ukrainian NGOs that are working hard to solve the current social needs in Ukraine. Some of them are as a result of the aggression in the east, some of them are the result of the general impoverishment of the society here.
And before your appointment as in your current position, you served as the managing partner of an international law firm for 20 years, I believe, in Ukraine. In your opinion, in your experience, what does the future hold for Ukraine?
I'm always optimistic. You know, I think that what kept me going as a lawyer in Ukraine for all those years was the fact that there were many opportunities for improvement. And I believe genuinely that the Ukrainian people, especially this new generation that I'm meeting on a regular basis, of young, inspired people, people who are inspired by the revolution of dignity and wanted to commit to their own society, I find that very encouraging. And these are the cadres that we're sending abroad for studies, and these are cadres that will lead the various ministries. The Minister of the Economy, for example, we're helping him with the export promotion program right now as well. And that is, again, staffed by very young people. You know, many of them don't have a lot of experience, but their hearts are in the right place, and they want to make change, and they want to improve the economy of the country. And this is all very encouraging.
Mrs. Johnson, thank you very, very much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Now we return back to the news.